Hello everyone. Let's have a look on National AIDS Control Program. So realizing the gravity of epidemiological situation of HIV AIDS prevailing in the country, the government of India constituted in 1985 called a task force. Why? To study the problem of HIV and advise on its control. So, what is alarming is the problem of HIV/AIDS is not just confined to the high risk marginalized population group, but is spreading in various directions from urban areas to rural areas, or we can say from one husband to faithful wives, and from infected pregnant mothers to their innocent fetus. So, in agreement with the recommendations of task force, the government of India launched National AIDS Control Program during 1987. So, in June 1992, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare was set up a National AIDS Control Organizations as an apex body to deal with this implementation and monitoring of National AIDS Control Program activities in the country. So, the new HIV policy agenda ensuring that the people living with HIV/AIDS, that is PLHIV or PLHA, can live longer in a good health and participate fully in the society. As we can see the logo in this slide, which means there is one red ribbon is there. So as ribbon shows awareness ribbon, so it is used as the symbol for the solidarity of the people living with HIV/AIDS and for the awareness and prevention of drug abuse and drug drivings. So National AIDS Control Program has moved through four phases. So National AIDS Control Program phase 1 has been started in 1992. The focal points were of National AIDS Control Program phase 1 is preventing HIV transmission, slowing the morbidity as well as mortality which are resulting from the HIV infection. Then zeroing of the socio-economic impact. If we'll see the strategy, those were adopted during phase 1. Our national blood transfusion policy was formulated to regulate the functioning of blood banks under the guidelines issued by the apex court, which encompassed all the aspects of blood donation, testing and storage. Then programs on IEC activities for HIV/AIDS awareness were launched. Then provision of the some services like mass education campaigns, protected blood supply, then condom promotion, treatment of sexually transmitted infections, treatment of AIDS related conditions, intersectoral collaborations, etc. You will see the National AIDS Control Project Phase 2, which was started in 1992. This second phase was launched in 1999 with financial credit of some amount, and the focus of this phase 2 was shifted from raising awareness to changing behavior among the high risk groups. So the objectives was to reduce the spread of HIV infection in India and to reduce the morbidity and mortality which are associated with the HIV/AIDS. The strategy adopted were capacity building was the focus in terms of counseling as well as testing centers, clinics. Then next strategy is behavior change in society towards the infection and infected people was the prime agenda. Then center and state level behavior sustainable surveillance, that is known as BSS surveys, were undertaken. Then all the NGOs were collaborated with the spread awareness among the targeted audience. And then schools, colleges, youth forums such as some Kendras, national service schemes were target recipients for sex education programs during the phase 2. A training module called Learning for Life was distributed in all the states among high school children. Then upgrading of technology based on the program was also done. If we see the National AIDS Control Project Phase 3, then it was launched in 2007 and ended in 2012. So that if we consider the chief agenda which were included in phase 3 were scale up of coverage of high risk groups and breach population. We can consider the migrant workers for that truckers and all, then blood safety programs, testing services, scale up of antiretroviral therapy, intervention with community ownership, then applying greater involvement of people living with HIV/AIDS principle. So there are some four adopted pronged strategy of phase 3 were there, like which are the four pronged strategies are adopted during phase 3. There are, first is prevent infections through exhaustive coverage of high risk groups with targeted interventions. Then second strategy is provide greater care, support as well as treatment to larger number of people living with HIV/AIDS. Then blood and cementing the infrastructure, systems, and human resources to carry out the treatment program at district, states, and national levels. Then, fourth strategies strengthen the countrywide strategic information management system. Okay, after that, the National AIDS Control Project Phase 4 was launched in 2012. So this Phase 4 was launched by Government of India on 12th of February 2014, which has been designed based on the lesson learned from Phase 3, means during 2007 to 2012. 2 years lag has been attributed to shortage of funds due to unavailability of donors. So this brought the program to a for nearly 18 months. So this break could seriously dampen the hope of some lot of around 3 million people with HIV/AIDS. Okay. We will see the goal of this program is to accelerate the process of reversal and further strengthen the epidemic response in India through a well-defined integration process. The objective was phase 4 is to reduce the new infections by 50%. Then second objective is to provide a comprehensive care, including all the care, preventive, promotive, palliative care, rehabilitative care, and support to all persons living with HIV/AIDS, and treatment services for all those who required it, who needed it. Then if we'll see the strategy which are adopted to achieve these goals during this phase 4 are intensifying and consolidating prevention services. More focuses on prevention services with a focus on high risk groups and vulnerable populations. Then increasing access and promoting comprehensive care, support and treatment at all the levels. Then expanding IEC services for whom? For a general population as well as for high risk groups with a focus on behavior change and demand generation. Then next strategy is building capacities at all the level, national, state, district, facility levels, at grassroots levels. Then strengthening SIMS, that is strategic information management system, which is very much important. Now we'll see the national strategic plan for HIV/AIDS and STI. So, based on the recommendations of a midterm appraisal of National AIDS Control Project Program Phase 4, which was held in 2016, the National Strategic Plan was proposed to steer the program forward. If we'll see the vision is paving the way for an AIDS-free India. Then mission is to attain a universal coverage of HIV prevention, universal care, as well as continuum of services. These are effective, inclusive, equitable, as well as adapted to the needs. Then goal of this strategic plan is we have to achieving a zero new infections, zero new cases, zero AIDS related deaths, as well as zero discriminations regarding HIV/AIDS in the society. Then the key priorities under National AIDS Control Project 4 is the preventing new infections by sustaining the reach of current interventions and effectively addressing emerging epidemics. As we had seen the objective previously, that we have to reduce the new cases, new infections by 50%. Then prevention of parent to child transmission, focusing on IEC strategies for behavior change, especially in high risk groups. We have to spread awareness among general population as well as among high risk groups. Then providing comprehensive care, we have to give support and treatment to eligible those who are people living with HIV/AIDS. Then reducing stigma and discrimination through greater involvement of people living with HIV/AIDS. Next key priorities are decentralizing rollout of services including technical support from grassroots level to a higher level. All the services will be provided to all the centers. Then ensuring effective use of strategic information at all the levels of program. Proper recording and reporting will be there. Then building capacities of NGO and civil society partners, especially in states with emerging epidemics. Then integrating HIV services with health systems in a phased manner, step by step. Then mainstreaming of HIV/AIDS activities with all key central state level ministries will be given a high priority, and resources of the respective departments will be leveraged. So social protection and insurance mechanism for people living with HIV/AIDS will be strengthened. Now we'll see the packages of services under the National AIDS Control Project 4 is. So these include all prevention services, care support treatment services, IEC services, capacity building services. Then SIMS, that is strategic information management system. We'll see one by one all the services which are provided under the National AIDS Control Program phase 4. The first one is prevention services. In that, which prevention services are included? These are targeted interventions for high risk groups and rich population. Then link worker scheme, management of STI, management of sexual violence, then condom promotion and blood safety. Now, what is targeted interventions for high risk groups and rich population? So, targeted interventions are preventive interventions. For whom? For high risk groups in a defined geographic area. So, high risk groups include some female sex workers, or we can say commercial sex workers, men who have sex with men, then transgenders, those who are injecting drug users. We can also consider them as a high risk population. Then if we consider the breach population includes long distance truck drivers and single male migrants. So specific interventions will be available for injecting drug users. Those can be distribution of clean needles and syringes, as well as abscess prevention and management, opioid substitution therapy, linkage with detoxification or rehabilitation services for injecting drug users. And then we have to provide with lubricating materials to the commercial sex worker, female sex workers. Then we have to distribute female condoms as well as among the male condoms. So interventions for breech population are very much important to prevent the infection from entering the general population. So for migrants, services like distribution of condoms and IEC are provided at their villages, at any of the places, like at the railway station, at the bus stations. Okay. So for truckers or any kind of migrants, the clinics for preventive diagnostic and treatment services are conducted at transshipments locations and are co-branded at Khushi Suraksha Clinic. Then link worker scheme. So in this scheme, some link workers, those who are trained members of the community, they will provide information as well as skills on HIV/AIDS prevention to the vulnerable members of the community. Now, which kind of vulnerable members of community? Like youth or people living with HIV/AIDS, women having casual sex partners, and also to members belonging to high risk groups and rich population. So currently this scheme is active in high prevalence districts of selected endemic states. Then management of STI, RTI, sexually transmitted infections, reproductive tract infections. So strategies for STI, RTI control are, we have to strengthen the STI, RTI control and prevention, and then eliminate the parent to child transmission of HIV/AIDS. Then next is management of sexual violence. So after a sexual assault, some preventive and supportive measures are mandated. So like prevention of unwanted pregnancy, so emergency contraception with levonorgestrel or any combined oral contraceptive pill malady will be provided. Then post exposure prophylaxis against STI will be given. Post-exposure prophylaxis against HIV should be done as per the Department of AIDS Control guidelines. Then post-exposure prophylaxis against hepatitis B. If the victim is not vaccinated against a hepatitis B, both the vaccines and hepatitis B immunoglobulins should be administered within 24 hours, followed by completion of vaccine schedule. So follow-up services we should give to the sexual violence victims. The victim should be told whom to contact in case of any subsequent problems related to the incident. Then we have to give proper psychological support, both immediate as well as long term. The next prevention services is condom promotion. So condom social marketing program was launched under the National AIDS Control Project Phase 3 to increase the condom acceptance and their use. So under this program, condoms were made available in non-conventional shops like petrol pumps, wine shops, then other shops. The next strategy is blood safety. So the blood safety program was also launched under the National AIDS Control Project Phase 3 to provide a safe and quality blood and blood products with the objective of ensuring reduction in the transmission which are associated with HIV transmission. Then testing for HIV along with hepatitis B, hepatitis C, malaria, syphilis, which are mandatory for all the blood units collected at blood banks. So professional blood donation was banned, okay, from around 1st January 1998. So these all are prevention services. Next prevention services are HIV counseling and testing services. So HIV counseling and testing services is important. Why? For early diagnosis of HIV in clinically suspected individuals. Then it is important for safety of blood, blood products, organs and tissues, prevention of parent to child transmission, voluntary testing of high risk groups, monitor epidemiological trends of infection, and identify the population groups requiring specific interventions. So individuals can access this HIV counseling and testing services in through self initiated or voluntary approach, or by provider initiated approach. So rapid test kits are recommended by NACO, that is National AIDS Control Organization, for screening which are more than 99.5% sensitive and more than 98% specific. So strategy for testing is based on serial testing using repeat test on initially reactive samples. Okay, so the HIV counseling and testing services include some components. Now the components are integrated counseling and testing centers, prevention and of parent to child transmission of HIV, then HIV tuberculosis collaborative activities. So we'll see the integrated counseling and testing centers. So these centers provide diagnostic facilities, simultaneously counseling services as well as referrals for STI treatments, condom promotion, care and support for opportunistic infections, and referral to designated centers for antiretroviral therapy. So these ICTCs, means integrated counseling and testing centers, have been classified into two types: facility based HIV testing and community based HIV testing centers. Now, what is facility based HIV testing? Those are approaches include standalone ICDCs which are located at tertiary healthcare facilities and have full time counselor as well as laboratory technician. The facility ICDCs which are run below the block level at 24 by 7 at PHCs by existing paramedical staff of the health facility. And public private partnership ICTCs run in private facilities with the support of district AIDS prevention control units, state AIDS control societies, similar to facility ICTC centers. So community based HIV testing approaches include mobile ICTCs in hard to reach areas, specific in remote area, tribal areas, screening by essentially healthcare providers, screening by NGOs led targeted interventions program. So HCT is for prison inmates and at workplace for both organized and unorganized sectors. Then next component of HIV counseling and testing services, prevention of parent to child transmission of HIV. So the primary route of transmission of HIV in children is mother to child transmission, which occur during pregnancy. So childbirth, which also occur during childbirth as well as breastfeeding with equal frequency. So this should we have to be stop, we have to prevent them. So essential package for these services in India consist of HIV counseling and testing, diagnosis and treatment of mother and child pregnancy management, and care of the other conditions, so we can prevent the transmission of parent to child of HIV AIDS. Then HIV TB collaborative activities. So TB is the most common opportunistic infection among HIV infected individuals, as we are aware about it. So a four pronged approach which with the involvement of both National AIDS Control Program and RNDCP, revised National Tuberculosis Control Program for prevention and control of HIV TB, is in place. So which are these four pronged approaches? The first approach is primary prevention of HIV, especially among women of childbearing age. Okay, then next approach is preventing unintended pregnancies among women living with HIV. Then third approach is prevent HIV transmission from pregnant women infected with HIV to their children. Then uh, fourth one is provide care, support, and treatment to women living with HIV, her children, and their family. So these all are about the components of HIV counseling and testing services. Then prevention and management of occupational exposure to bloodborne infections. Now standard precautions which guide the prevention of bloodborne infections in high risk workplace settings, like how which steps we can follow to prevent the or to reduce the transmission of disease condition, reduce the occupational exposure. So like hand washing before and after all the medical procedures we have to follow. Then use of protective barriers such as gloves, masks, goggles, aprons, gowns, boots to prevent the direct contact with blood and body fluid those who are infected with HIV AIDS. Then safe handling and immediate safe disposal of sharps. Cannot always remember that do not recap the needles. Likewise, they're using special containers and needle cutters for sharp disposals, using forceps for guiding sutures, using vacuum trainers where possible. So respiratory hygiene and cough etiquette should be followed. Then environmental cleaning by routine cleaning and as well as disinfection, safe decontamination and disposal of contaminated waste or patient care equipment we should follow to reduce the occupational exposure. Now, post exposure prophylaxis should be given in any case of exposure to blood or any body fluid. Okay, some steps should be mandated for the post exposure prophylaxis against bloodborne infections. So, negative test in source patient does not exclude the risk of infection, since widow period for HIV extends for a period of 6 weeks when the infection is not detectable. We know that. So first of all, what we should do is a post exposure prophylaxis measure. So first we have to wash out the wound with water and soap. We have to if some body fluid is contact with her eyes, we have to irrigate our eyes with water. Then if fluid is contacted to our mouth or nearer our mouth, we have to rinse out our mouth with water. Then we have to establish the eligibility for post exposure prophylaxis, which were depending upon the nature of exposure and status of source. Means which kind of exposure is that? There is mild exposure, moderate exposure, or severe exposure. Based on that, we have to provide treatment. We have to do a counseling for post exposure prophylaxis, like explain risk and benefits of post exposure prophylaxis, and we have to seek informed consent, then prescribe post exposure prophylaxis. Okay, so these steps we have to follow. HIV post exposure prophylaxis should be started initially within 2 hours and not too later than 72 hours of exposure. Initially, two drugs therapy should be started. So, post exposure prophylaxis should be continued for 4 weeks. In case the source patient is on antiretroviral therapy and is considered to have drug resistance, so expert physician should be consulted. Then post-exposure prophylaxis for hepatitis B includes vaccinations and administration of immunoglobulin, which should be started. All the healthcare personnel should be vaccinated against hepatitis B to prevent as a preventive measures of occupational exposure. Okay, so these kind of preventive services are provided under the National AIDS Control Program Phase 4. Now the IEC services. Next strategy, next packages services in IEC. So IEC is an important part of HIV/AIDS control. The services include promotion of safe behavioral practices, reduction of stigma and discrimination, then promotion of services for counseling and testing, antiretroviral therapy, increasing condom use. These services are focused on youth as well as women who are more vulnerable to HIV infections. The various channels of communications used are mass media, exhibition, film shows, then hoardings, bus panels, adolescent education programs, and some formation of red ribbon clubs in schools. Then recently, an app has been launched by NACO that helps to assess the risk of person for contracting HIV/AIDS, locate nearby health facilities, and to access toll-free helpline number, which was 1097. Then care, support, and treatment services. So the objective of these services is to improve the survival and quality of life of people those who are living with HIV/AIDS. So services provided are antiretroviral therapy, prevention and treatment of opportunistic infections, psychological support, home based care, and reduction of stigma. Okay, so these kind of services will be provided to them. Then some laboratory services for testing and other investigations are there. We have to provide proper antiretroviral therapy to them. Care, support, and treatment services are provided through ART and ART Plus centers, which were overlooked by centers of excellence. So, pediatric ART centers and centers of excellence are also in place for providing pediatric ART. Decentralization is achieved through Link ART centers and Link ART Plus centers at sub districts and CHCs, PHCs. Why? To reduce the caseload as well as waiting time, to reduce the waiting time so that the every needed person can get the treatment in proper time. The ARD centers are also linked to ICTCs, STI clinics, okay, then other clinics also. So there is a cross referral with the RNTCP program as well as to tackle the burden of TB HIV. Then care and support centers are run at the district level by NGOs and provide as a link between people living with HIV/AIDS families and ARD centers. Then capacity building. It involves training of manpower and technical staff. So these training programs are held in the uh, centers and other designated training centers across the country. So there is some PG diploma courses in HIV medicine has been also started along with various national and regional distance learning courses. Apart from training, intersectoral collaboration is important part of capacity building, involving the private sector in care, support, and treatment of people living with HIV has effectively aided HIV/AIDS control efforts. Then, last is strengthening the strategic information management system. So, strategic information management under National AIDS Control Project Phase 4 is a system for data generation through the surveillance, monitoring, and research and translation of this data to guide program management and policy making. The strategic information management unit has four divisions like monitoring and evaluation. Second is research. Third is surveillance and epidemiology. Then data analysis and dissemination. So this seems that is strategic information management system is a web-based reporting, data management and decision support system which is run by monitoring and evaluation division, where data is collected monthly from over around 30,000 reporting units. A system for web-based data storage has also been developed by the Name of National AIDS Control Organization cloud, that is NACO cloud. Meghraj, we can say Meghraj. So this is all about National AIDS Control Program. Thank you everyone.